rod, staff, wand. What comes to mind? Well, that's right, they're all synonyms for baton, which is a series of everyday carry lights from Olight that you can get at goinggear.com, but you knew that, right? I recently reviewed the S2 Copper, and today's review is for their AA powered S2A Baton. The S2A is an everyday carry size light from Olight that uses two AA's, and before you say, why not lithium ion? Well, because some people really aren't into it yet. While Olight also makes single AA powered flashlights like the S1A, they offer this version too for people who need longer run times or don't like recharging their batteries or changing them that often. The S2A has those baton features like lightweight aluminum construction, a PMMA TIR optic, which gives the S2A a nice big hotspot for close-up tasks, and a Cree XML2 cool white emitter. The main body of the light has a comfortable silicone grip over the aluminum, which gives the light a grip in the wet, and comes in a few colors. I got blue, and my baton glows in the dark. Alright, let's go over those output modes. The baton has 5. My estimated figures and Olights for alkalines are on the screen. First is Moonlight, which is a bit brighter than the Moonlight on my S2. Then is Low. Then you got Mid. Then is High. And that's right, next comes Turbo. Turbo has a timed step down at about 3 minutes in, which cuts the output roughly in half. The S2A gets longer run times on lithium primary AA batteries, which you'll notice in the runtime section later in the video. I use the alkalines figures here on screen like Olight's alkalines figures because they are more in line with Eneloop performance. Cool, now the user interface. The S2A uses an electronic switch, so if you're storing it for long periods of time like months or years, remove the batteries or unscrew the tail cap. A slight turn to break electrical contact from the battery tube to the tail cap. Alright, so let's just go ahead and get the one strobe out of the way first. Triple click at any time from on or off to get into the one strobe mode. Done. Alright, regular operation is as follows. The S2A has mode memory, so it remembers the last mode you had it on before you turned it off. So turn it on with a single click, then press and hold after you've turned it on to go through the modes, which get higher in brightness and start over from low. They go from low all the way to turbo. So it will continue to scroll through the 4 main modes until you release it. Again, not Moonlight mode. Now, click once to turn it off. Shortcut to turbo from off is a double click. You turn it off from turbo, and it's saved into mode memory. Now, from off to get to Moonlight, press and hold. Then you get into Moonlight mode, then release. Although Moonlight mode is not a regular part of the mode loop, it still can be saved into mode memory, which I like. Just in case you want to know, the S2 I reviewed does not save Moonlight into mode memory for whatever reason. Anyway, there's also the 3 or 9 minute timer, just like the S2 Copper I reviewed, meaning in any mode you can set it to turn off at those times by doing the following. The light has to be on. Double click in the mode you want timed. You'll see one blink for 3 minutes. And if you want 9 minutes, double click again, and then you see 2 blinks, and it's set for 9 minutes, so the light will go off at that time. It's good for like a nightstand light or something. Now the run times. For turbo, I did you guys a solid and tried it with 3 different kinds of batteries so you can see the difference. Alkaline AA's, non-rechargeable lithium AA's that Olight includes with the S2A, and rechargeable Eneloop nickel metal hydride, or NIMH AA's. And for the record, Olight says you get the best performance with their lithium AA's, and that is true. You get longer run times and better sustained brightness. Now please don't confuse these non-rechargeable AA's with lithium ion, which is a totally different kind of battery with a different voltage that this light cannot run on. Do not use lithium ions on this. First is turbo, split screen between all 3 battery types. They all step down quickly, just like Olight says they will. I measured the step down to be 300 lumens. The step down is gradual, although you can't tell on the time lapse. They run for a while, and the Duracell alkalines step down around 1 hour in. This is why alkalines suck. As the alkaline dims, the Eneloops start dimming at about 2 hours in. After a few minutes, the light flickers, and the Eneloops stop putting out what I call good light. The lithiums, however, don't really start dimming until about 3 hours and 15 minutes in, and the light actually cuts off right at about 3 hours and 50 minutes. The Eneloops are still going, but the light is flickering and would only be good for emergency lighting. Olight says lithiums give the best performance, and this shows you they're absolutely right. Next is high. From this point on, I'll only be using Eneloops because I don't have money to throw away batteries. You get slightly longer run times on high mode than turbo. Remember, turbo has a timer and the light only runs at about the full output for 2 to 3 minutes. Otherwise, the modes between turbo and high are kind of the same other than that initial big bump in brightness. You get about 2 hours and 25 minutes of good, mostly constant light in the 200 to 300 lumen range. Then it continues a flickering low frequency PWM mode for another 2 hours. Remember, it's like the emergency light I talked about in the prior runtime. Then is medium mode. Medium runs solidly at about 140 lumens that I measured for nearly 5.5 hours. This is a nice, long, usable runtime with a moderate amount of light. Remember, this is on Eneloops. But the light starts flickering at about 5.5 hours and you get low frequency PWM emergency light. Remember, I called emergency, not Olight. Until about 8 hours. And just so you know, using lithium primaries like I talked about earlier yields even longer run times. Now it's Beamshot time, bros. Let me just stress that the Olight is the lowest powered light in this setup because it's AA powered. Here are the lights I'll be comparing the S2A to. All lights are set to their maximum output per flashlight science. First is the Olight S2A. At this point it looks pretty floody. At closer ranges it looks like it has a large hotspot. Everyday carry lights are usually designed with floody or large hotspots because that works better for close-up tasks and not a tiny little hotspot. Here it is compared to the S2, which is not quite twice as bright, but close to twice as bright. Both these lights are better suited for closer tasks, but still illuminate the dark tree bamboo wall at 100 feet away, actually 120 feet away. Then is the Nitecore MH20GT, which is a small lithium-ion powered light with a brighter hotspot. This is an everyday carry size light better suited for throwing and more like outdoor longer range tasks, or medium range, not long range. The batons are both better for close-up stuff because of the larger hotspot up close. Back to the S2A for a second. Now the Zebralight, which is sort of a compromise between the batons and the Nitecore. It has a larger hotspot too, but can also be used at slightly longer distances outdoors. This is my usual everyday carry. Next is the S2A. Then finally, let's get another light with a dispersed beam pattern. How about the Astrolux S41? You'll remember I reviewed a few months ago. Okay, wrapping it up. The light is drop proof to 1 meters. It's IPX8 water and dust proof rated, so it can be submerged temporarily into 2 meters of water or used in the rain in elements like a normal person would. Remember, it's not a diving light. The tail stands. It includes a removable clip, a lanyard, and 2 non-rechargeable Olight lithium primary AA batteries. And FYI, non-rechargeable lithium primaries that you can use in place of AA's are often called lithium primaries. Sometimes you call them lithium AA's. Again, they are totally different than a lithium-ion battery, which runs at 3.7 volts. This is like 1.5-ish. The Baton S2A is pocketable, but let's go over the dimensions and see if it works for you, like the diameter of the head, and the length, and the weight. And I'll just set it here next to my iPhone 5S. You know, something else people put in their pocket. The S2A is a great choice for people who need an everyday carry light with a wide variety of output modes, who aren't ready to upgrade to lithium ion yet, or who need something they can use with regular batteries they can steal from work. The 2 AA configuration means you can have longer run times than the standard single AA flashlight. There's no visible PWM on any of the modes, again until the battery starts to run out past its usable runtime. If you like this review and you like this light, please buy it at goinggear.com. Give my video a thumbs up and leave a comment. And subscribe to my channel even if you think my Daryl Hammond impersonation of a Sean Connery impersonation is the most painfully unfunny thing you've ever heard. Thanks for watching.